welcome to the first video of the Last Minute Learn, and today's video is all about anti-cancer drugs, how they are classified and what is their mechanism of action. Anti-cancer drugs are mainly three types, that is cytotoxic drugs, targeted drugs and hormonal drugs. So in this first episode we'll be talking about the cytotoxic drugs, how they are classified with EC mnemonics and what are their mechanism of action. So let's start off the video with the brief introduction of what is cancer. We all have DNA packed within a gene that is responsible for telling the cells how they should function and how they should multiply. So any error within the gene or DNA, that could be like mutation or overexpression of certain genes, that could cause the cell to multiply in an abnormal manner. Cytotoxic drugs. Cyto means cell, toxic means poison. We are literally killing the cells. First we'll be talking about the mechanism of action of different cytotoxic drugs, and then we'll talk about the classification. Alright, so the first class we'll be talking about is anti-metabolites. Folic acid gets converted to tetrahydrofolic acid. Folic acid is basically dihydrofolic acid that gets reduced to tetrahydrofolic acid in the presence of an enzyme called dihydrofolate reductase. Folic acid antagonists, they have a high affinity towards dihydrofolic acid, so they bind together. And then what happens? Dihydrofolic acid is not able to get converted to tetrahydrofolic acid because of the lack of this enzyme, because all of this is binded to methotrexate or folate antagonist. So this is how tetrahydrofolic acid formation is reduced. So what happens once the tetrahydrofolic acid is formed, they are not directly responsible for the production of purines and pyrimidines. They are an important ingredient. So once purines and pyrimidines are made, we know purines are basically adenine, guanine, and pyrimidines are basically cytosine, thymine, and uracil. In order to form a DNA, you need the purines and pyrimidines binded together, right? A, T, G, C. We remember that. So what happens here is purine. We add purine antagonists. They're also called purine analogs. They kind of look like purines, but they're not actually purines. So they bind to the places where purines are supposed to bind, but they don't have the necessary function. And in case of pyrimidine antagonists also, it is a similar case. These both are false purines and pyrimidines. So they both do not have any purine or pyrimidine function. They just act like them, and this causes a failure in the formation of nucleotide. Nucleotides are not formed, that means DNA is not formed, and then the cell mitosis itself or the cell division itself is cancelled. And now we have alkylating agents and platinum coordinating complexes. Alkylating agents are consisting of alkyl groups which are highly reactive once they enter into the cell. They bind with DNA and cause miscoding of the DNA. They also are responsible for creating a cross-linkage of DNA. So what is cross-linkage? Cross-linkage is when they bind in a very undesired manner. See, this is how cross-linkage happens. Alkyl groups could also just randomly attach to one side of the nucleotide. So this is how alkylating agents work. Platinum coordinating complexes also have a very similar reaction, as they are highly reactive once they enter into the cell. So what happens here is that they cause intercalation of the DNA. So what is intercalation? Intercalation is when there is a squeezed bond formed between two base pairs. As you can see in this image here, how a bond is being squeezed between two base pairs. So this is how the platinum coordinating complexes act. So what happens once the DNA structure is damaged through either cross-linkage or intercalation? This causes the DNA synthesis to cease. The transcription process stops. It could also cause mutation. See, we are here the DNA structure itself is changing. So this is a type of mutation, right? So this is how cancer can be stopped by reducing the cell mitosis process. And now we have antibiotics. Antibiotics have a very similar mechanism of action to platinum coordinating complexes. What they also are responsible for creating an intercalation within the DNA by binding to the DNA. So what happens is intercalation, as we have seen, is squeezing of bond between two base pairs. What happens is it could cause mutation, and another mechanism of action of antibiotics is that they inhibit topoisomerase, which is responsible for unwinding of the DNA. Once the unwinding process is slowed, it could cause the DNA strands to break. The reason we are unwinding the DNA is so that the strain is reduced on the DNA. So this is how antibiotics work. There are other antibiotics like actinomycin D. They act mainly by stopping the RNA transcription process. And now we have microtubule function inhibiting drugs. So what are microtubules? Microtubules are basically a cytoskeletal structure within the cell that are responsible for movement of chromosomes. So chromosomes attach themselves between the microtubules. They divide during cell division. It replicates and move to either side of the cell. So the microtubule, once they replicate the chromosomes in between the cell, they move to equal part. They split the chromosomes into two and then move along with the cells once they divide. So once this is disrupted, it can create an uneven distribution of chromosomes between two cells. This could reduce the cell division process in the future. This can be seen with the help of a video here. So we can see that the DNA replication is happening, how a chromosome is formed and how the mitotic spindle is formed. We can see the microtubules pulling the chromosomes apart during the cell division. Topoisomerase inhibitor drugs, that is 1 and 2. What does topoisomerase do? Here we can see the DNA is heavily coiled. It's like a telephone wire. So we can see that it's even thicker than a telephone wire, right? So what happens is topoisomerase 1 and 2 are responsible for reducing the supercoiling of the DNA. So it reduces the strain before it reaches the helicase and breaks the DNA. In order to reduce the strain, the topoisomerase are responsible for unwinding the DNA. So they do this by topoisomerase 1 breaks a single strand and topoisomerase 2 breaks two strands and continue this unwinding process. So this is very important for the DNA replication process. If this does not happen, the DNA undergoes a major strain, it breaks. So how this happens is the strand binds to the topoisomerase, and then here, as you can see, there is unwrapping of the strands, and then it turns, joins them back, and then release them. So this is how the unwinding process occurs. So once topoisomerase 1 and 2 are inhibited, it could cause the DNA strand to break. Next is a miscellaneous cytotoxic drug called L-asparginase. It is more of an enzyme. Many leukemic conditions, we can see that the cells will require more of L-aspargine, which is an amino acid. That is what the cell eats. That is their nutritional supplement. So this demand for L-aspargine is what makes the cell more vulnerable, because L-asparginase is an enzyme that breaks down L-aspargine into L-aspartic acid and ammonia. So the cell does not have L-aspargine as their nutritional supplement anymore, because they are broken down. Now the cell starves to death. And now we have the classification for cytotoxic drugs. So what are the different types of cytotoxic drugs? They can be classified as MAP and MAT and miscellaneous drugs. So what is MAP? What is MAP? So M is metabolites, that is antimetabolites, and now we have alkylating agents as A, and then platinum coordination complexes as P, and that is MAP. Now what is MAT? M stands for microtubule damaging drugs, A stands for antibiotics, and T stands for topoisomerase, and then miscellaneous, MAP, MAT and miscellaneous. Now alkylating agents have a classification of their own. So that is EAT-MEN. You can also call it Eastman if you don't remember the sulfonate in the alkyl sulfonate. So the first one is ethylenimine. So we can remember this easily by the ETH, the TH group, that is thio. It's very similar. You can relate to the sound, thio, TEPA. And now we have alkyl sulfonate. It is there in the name itself, the sulf group, busulfan. So the sulf group is there. And then in triazine we have azine as the common ending, that is dacarbazine. And now we have methyl hydrazine, the azine group is still there, procarbazine. And we have nitrogen mustards, which are very important alkylating agents. You must learn them: cyclophosphamide and chlorambucil. And in nitrosourea, we have carmustine and lomustine. I've put together nitrogen mustard and nitrosourea is because mustards, carmustine, lomustine. So it is easier to remember that way. Next, we have platinum coordination complex. So what? It is very easier to remember the platin name. It's there in the name itself, right? Cisplatin, carboplatin, oxaliplatin. So it is very easy to remember the platinum coordination complexes from the name itself. And now we have antimetabolites. We've learned about the three different subclasses of antimetabolites, that is folate antagonist, purine antagonist, and pyrimidine antagonist. Now in folate antagonist, we have methotrexate, folate, methotrexate, ATE. That is how you should relate the folate antagonist and methotrexate. And we have purine antagonist. So the purine, the name itself is there in 6-mercaptopurine, and we can see 6-thioguanine. Guanine is a purine, right? So it is easier to remember that way: purine antagonist, purine, and guanine. So this is how you should relate. And now we have pyrimidine antagonist. Only one example I've given that is relatable, that is 5-fluorouracil. Uracil group is a part of pyrimidine. Uracil is a pyrimidine. So that is how you can remember pyrimidine antagonist. And now we have microtubule damaging drugs. The name is derived from Vinca alkaloids. So basically, Vinca alkaloid consists of drugs like vincristine, vinblastine. So Vin is the name. And now next we have Taxol. So what are Taxols? Taxols and Vinca alkaloids are two types of microtubule damaging drugs, two different chemical structures. So Vinca alkaloids are vincristine, vinblastine, and Taxol group consists of paclitaxel. So this Taxol. So that's how you should remember. And the next group we have is topoisomerase inhibitors. So there are two types of topoisomerase inhibitors, right? That is 2 and 1. So in topoisomerase 2 inhibitors, we have etoposide. The top of topoisomerase is added in etoposides. So you can remember etoposides, top side. And then we have topoisomerase 1 inhibitor, and again we have the same name, top, in the drug name. So TOPCAN. So you can remember it is TOPCAN, topotecan. And the next what we have is antibiotics. We have learned that antibiotics, there are different types of antibiotics: doxorubicin, daunorubicin, bleomycin, actinomycin D. So we can remember from the mechanism of action, right? So antibiotics do not have any it usually ends with bicin, CINE, and that is one way you can remember antibiotics: mycin, rubicin. And the final class is miscellaneous, right? So here we've learned about L-asparginase and hydroxyurea. Hydroxyurea acts by inhibiting cytosine, and L-asparginase we have already mentioned in the video. So these are the two miscellaneous drugs. Other than that, we have tretinoin, which is commonly used as a topical agent, right? So we have these miscellaneous drugs, and that is all about cytotoxic classification. So that's it, guys. This is all about the cytotoxic section of the anti-cancer drugs, and the remaining, that is the hormonal and targeted drugs, we will be learning in the upcoming videos. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe, and please do click on the bell icon to get the notification from my videos very quickly as soon as I upload them.